Today, talking about pure real estate facts here in the Las Vegas area with Jeff Fargo, marketing genius from North American Title. And we're going to talk about a little bit about appreciation, what's going on in our city. We're going to eliminate all of the fables that have been going around about the Las Vegas market and real estate market in general here. Stay tuned. Yeah, you are the marketing genius, hence why I'm bringing you on my show today.
Love it.
And I'm just going to bombard you. We're going to
Love
get
it.
into the meat and potatoes of real estate.
I love meat and potatoes.
I,
So, I mean, like, what's better? It's like meat, potatoes. I can't pick, so I'll take
it's
both.
pretty straightforward, though.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Everyone's got their quirks.
By the way, I'm just going to let this roll with this beginning part because I enjoy
It's fine.
it.
No, it's fine. I don't care.
Well, speaking of issues of Las Vegas
Yeah.
and diversification of our economy, I mean, I did want to jump right into real estate, but I want to jump into that first and kind of get your statistics on that. And I
Yep.
know we need a diversification in our economic value here in order for us to be able to sustain as a city.
Correct.
And I know we're getting some headquarters, but what are some of the rumors or indications that you've heard about different headquarters coming to our city?
As of right now, I know that there's a lot of rumors, but everything, and I mean everything, is on hold until, because for the biggest reason is everyone thinks, well, we're kind of dependent on gaming, and we're kind of dependent on on the strip. Well, never have we been more dependent than right now. And when you have companies furloughing half of their people on the strip, that sends ripple effects of confidence throughout the nation. So there are companies I know of that are looking to come here, but as of right now, and this is straight from like the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce, uh, everything's on hold because they want to see the greatest indicator that we should all be looking at right now is McCarran Airport and how many people are flying in here, because they had like a 95% drop because of COVID. So we really need to start watching those monthly numbers of people coming here. And when those start to trend back up, then you're going to see more confidence in companies that are going to want to come here right now. But as of right now, everything is on hold. Everything until we get people coming here to throw the dice and spin the wheel and have a royal flush and hit a little button and triple sevens come up red, white, and blue.
You don't see anybody being interested in getting the difference of tax write-off and the incentives that they were providing to people bringing businesses here, being able to come in and kind of sideways save our city potentially?
It's a great in theory, yes, but I know of a large company that just moved their data center, and we have Switch, which is one of, like, globally recognized as one of the greatest data centers on the planet, and they're hosting their data right now in the Bay Area. They're moving everything to South Carolina, not here.
Right.
And I asked why, because the company, I know some people there, and I said, how come? And they said, it's too hot. Vegas is too hot. And I said, but South Carolina, you've got like bugs and kudzu, and it's just gross there sometimes, and it's muggy and sticky and ew. And I mean, hello, let's just keep it real. The greatest thing South Carolina has going for themselves is they have south of the border, the greatest place ever to get fireworks, and they have Waffle House, and its second cousin, Huddle House. That's it.
And they have cheap beachfront property. Maybe that was
Very cheap beachfront property. So that was, I think that there, and I know that this company is looking more for, like, they want to have more of a seasonal place to go, where here it's like ridiculously hot, like right now, it's like going into your microwave, or for 9 months or 8 months out of the year, it's very nice here. So there are a lot of factors that we never thought of. And then COVID came out of nowhere and punched us in the stomach like a 19-year-old Mike Tyson. And now we are looking to rebound. Are we rebounding? Yes. Home sales are tracking up. Canceled sales are tracking down. Newly signed sales contracts for June were at 1,228, which that's phenomenal. That's back to like almost February numbers. So for us, in terms of our housing market, it's been a V-shaped recovery so far. This thing is going to be taking its ebbs and flows. But again, I have CNBC on all day long. I'm very boring. And there's 3 different pharmaceutical companies right now in phase 3 trials for a vaccine. It's not a question of if, but when. And then also, just like the testing, the vaccine is going to be coming, I think, in the next 6 months. But then the rollout and how fast can they get it out to the masses is going to be the big one. I personally know people that were tested over a week ago and have not gotten the test results back yet.
Yeah, which is a huge conflicting factor when it comes to
Yep.
evaluation and collecting data and really honing in and finding out how to find the solution. But if we already
Yep.
have 3 different pharmaceutical companies that are in the process, I mean, we're already going into the further, trajectory to change and
Yes.
recovery, which is a great thing. And there's with the housing market, with the lack of people paying for their cars and
Yep.
all these different things, there's 2 sides of the story, right? Like you said, we've had a V shape for the real estate game, which is true. I mean, really, technically speaking, people have seen a lot of the positives from the FHA being the lowest interest rate that we've seen in the history of existence of humanity, 2.7,
Correct.
2.75 it was last week.
That's nuts. That's nuts.
Insane. So, I
Yep.
mean, as well as with the fact that a lot of people have a lot of equity that they've gained in the past 5 years, so they've been able to
Mm-hmm.
turn around and sell and push themselves into that conventional arena as well without the PMI and
Yep.
different things like that. So it's been actually quite sexy to a person that has equity. So that's why I believe that we've even had that V, because
Yep.
there's lots of potential within the market. And I hope that people are being educated that have those fears, like the buying, selling fears right now. What are some of those items that you've seen being in the title world, the neutral title world, which is a whole other
Mm-hmm.
different perspective? So,
Here's the biggest thing that I see, and I've been doing this for a little while, is that you get someone, a buyer or a seller, who is very successful in a finite thing, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, a widget maker, whatever. And they're so good at that, and they're praised, and they do really well. And all of a sudden, they think they're a realtor, even though they're hiring a professional like yourself, and they are telling you more what to do instead of you being the expert, setting the expectation to them. That is the number one challenge that I see on a daily basis. And there's oftentimes I hop on a 3-way call with the realtor to come in as like the third party. Look, I'm just the guy that has the data. And if you want to know about appreciation in 89052, let's look at, 2-story, 3,000 feet that were previously owned and are near, 300 feet near a fire hydrant because you've got dogs, whatever. That's the type of data I pull up, and it becomes very granular, and you can't really debate that. But to answer your question, that's the biggest challenge is I equate it to, you don't go to your dentist and get an oil change. So don't hire a realtor and all of a sudden say, well, no, my house is worth this much. Well, guess what? Your house is worth what the market's willing to pay for your house. And it's the realtor's job to get highest and best price, or if it's a buyer, to get the fairest price for a buyer that fits within their financial constraints. That's where there's a lot of time a big disconnect between a realtor that can set expectations compared to a realtor where I equate it to everyone. I tell them, look, just because we live in Las Vegas, prostitution is not legal. It's not. You got to go to Pahrump for that. That's Nye County. So just because you're getting paid doesn't mean you're going to do everything somebody says. And what I've seen, and I called it back in May, is with coronavirus hitting and with a lot of realtors no longer in the game, like a lot of them are changing their LinkedIn profiles to, realtor, and now they're a manager at Foot Locker. Okay, great, whatever. It's cleansing the market of those realtors that were more reactive to their clientele. And more of the realtors like yourself are stepping up that set expectations and tell the person, look, you're paying me for a reason, or I'm being paid for a reason. It's because I have the data, I have the knowledge, I have the know-how to guide you through this process. Let me do it with you and help you out. That's the number one biggest thing, is just let the realtor take over.
Right. And also, you couldn't have stated it better with the agent being reactive to their clients, because they've almost put themselves in this sense of desperation.
Correct.
And then we get this bad rep, and we have these clients that have this higher expectation of what they're gonna net for their property, and then they get beat down. But then you also have to set that expectation, because a lot of them still want to throw out the fishing rod, and you're like, okay, but listen, we've got a 2 weeks time span where we're gonna do this, and unfortunately at that time we will be doing this big of a price drop, or unfortunately you will have to find a new realtor.
Right.
Thank you.
That's it.
And it's got to be set, the expectation has to be set very clear. And I think that with the facade of a lot of the increase that we've had in the past 2 years, especially with how competitive it was in the price market for a seller in 2017, I quite frankly, it's built this, magic picture about what your home is worth. So especially even with COVID as well. So that within itself is probably why we had such a deep V instead of all those people capitalizing on their equity.
Yeah, great point.
Because of that. So, and it's been actually kind of unfortunate, because I've had to deny people the past 2 months for a sale to list their home because of the unrealistic expectation that they want to put. And you know what? We can only fork out. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize how much money we're putting on the table in order to be able to advertise their property.
Yeah, hundreds if not thousands.
It's got to make sense.
Correct.
So you're 100% right about that. And, I really didn't even think about it. This morning we were having a mastermind with a group of our agents, and one of the agents was talking about how, they felt obligated to work with somebody even though they didn't want to sign with them. And one of our biggest top players is a coach. His name is Aaron Powers. Great, phenomenal guy. Great cat. He says, if somebody's not willing to work with me, I'm not willing to work with them. And we need to set that expectation as well. And those are fine words right there. We really need to promote that in the real estate industry, because it's dampering. It's not only dampering us, but it's dampering our clientele, and it's dampering the future of many people out there that have an opportunity that's being left on the table.
Right. I've always said the most powerful word we have is no. It's very powerful, because it not only will help grow your brand, but it'll also defend your brand. And there's nothing wrong with telling somebody no. It's okay.
Right. Right.
You're allowed to do that. If you do a little bit of work and you comp out a house and it's at $510,000 and they want to list it at $650, that's a hard no. And when you show them all the data, and the thing is, they'll find somebody to list it at $650. You could swing a dead cat and find a realtor to list it at $650, but it's going to sit there and they're going to yell, and then they're going to fire that realtor, and then they're going to come back to you. Hey, you know what? Can we talk? And you're pretty much on, and we want to go ahead and relist with you. That's what happens. And so it's just getting to that point, especially if you're a new realtor, that have the confidence to set the expectations, because you are, your time is so valuable, and you are defending your calendar. And if you don't do that, you are going to have these time vampires of clients that are going to suck up all of your time and take the marrow out of your bones in looking at homes that they're not ready to buy, or looking to sell for a price that's bananas, or their house is a mess and they got to get it in order and get it cleaned up before it's ready to show. And you need to have those hard conversations. This job, this world that we're in, is not all unicorns jumping through rainbows, and every 30 days you get a giant Happy Gilmore check, and someone showing up at your door saying you just won the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes with a giant commission check. No. There is a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into this, and a lot, probably a third to a quarter of the deals fall through for one reason or another. So it's a game where it's transactional based, but you never treat it as a transactional business.
Right. And all business is built upon this diversification mentality, but that's got to be taken into consideration through your training, which is very important. And That's a whole other, I think that that's a whole other Zoom call though. I think. Yeah.
Oh God, are you kidding? There aren't enough gigabytes or terabytes of storage of memory for this video for that to want to go down that rabbit hole, my friend. Yeah,
It's
no,
true, it's true, and I found myself in sifting through that, and I'm not going to say who's the best, even though, and I'm not going to throw the Keller Williams Kool-Aid, even though I love my agency and I
yeah,
love the brokerage, but I specifically
all
love
good.
my broker. Jamie Velez is the best that I
Yeah,
have seen yet to bring education to the table. He's very straightforward, and he teaches you how
yeah.
to do many things, but it's important. The training is important, especially for new agents, and even as
Oh,
you evolve, so it's
to
important.
be trained and also to have some type of a mentor that once you go through the like first 10 minutes of Saving Private Ryan training where you're on the phone and you're getting you're getting beat up a lot. You get through that and you break through that log jam and you start building a client base and you get more comfortable having conversations with people. It's great to have a rock star mentor or mentors, like a circle of trust of people that you can go to when you have a challenge. I never call them problems. Problems are like insurmountable. Challenges can be overcome. So when you have a challenge, to have somebody who is in title, that's a lender, that is in real estate, and they become your me familia, your go-to guys and girls that you can text them and say, hey, I got this going on. What would you do? And they'll give you unfiltered feedback. That's what will help cultivate and grow your brand as a realtor. Hands down.
Right. Well, and it also build your relentlessness, getting in relationship with gaining the opportunity to say, I need help.
Yeah.
Because that within itself
Yeah.
is a whole other skill, is
Oh,
learning how to ask for help when you need it, reach out when you need it,
yeah.
be vulnerable with yourself when you know that there's been an opportunity that you didn't take advantage of because of your lack of thus for. So I mean, that's a lot to be taken into consideration. It also is part of how you build your relationships with your clients as well,
Mm-hmm.
and having that revolving aspect of referrals and everything else too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It is the one thing I learned from COVID is that I really thought that people had trouble asking for help. And now I really see people that are having trouble asking for help because I know people that have tested positive. I know people that have tested positive and gotten sick and that are friends of mine. And I'm like, can I send you something? I'm gonna come into your house, but can I, Amazon Prime, I could have chicken noodle soup there within 2 hours. No, I'm fine. Meanwhile, they're like, on the ventilator, like, 1 foot in the grave. I'm like, stop it already. It's okay to ask for help. And I think that it is very tough to do that because that's when you get raw with somebody. Because if I'm asking for help, I am telling you and letting you know that I'm imperfect. And we're peeling back the onion and I'm really letting you know the inner me that I need help and that, and can you assist me? I've really seen some amazing things happen through this COVID challenge that we're all going through with people that have stepped up, but also people that, have be asking for help and they're not, but they need it. So just by default, I send them things because I know they need the help. But it's the same thing. I think it's human nature, and it's really been exposed through COVID. And that have that transition to real estate. If you are a new realtor and you see all these people that look like they're doing amazing and they're posting on Instagram at these great houses and just closed and I just did all this business, half of them, if not more, are full of crap. And it's all posturing. And if you ever want to know what someone's numbers are, you can reach out to a title agent. And most of them, all of them, I do, have access to everybody's numbers. And back when I was a title rep, whenever I was in a meeting with somebody and if they came out and said, oh, I've been in business for 30 years and my license number is S.0000004. And I'm like, good for you. And meanwhile, I'd be sitting right there looking and pulling up their numbers. And they did 4 deals in the past, 4 years. I'm like, what? So, that's the thing is, don't look at everything you see online as gospel. The numbers don't lie. Data doesn't lie. And so that's the thing that you really need to dive deep. Like you're very good at that. Realtors have to rely on the numbers, whether it's comping a house, looking at future trends, looking at, crime statistics in a neighborhood or schools, all that stuff, the numbers don't lie.
Never,
Nope.
never. They don't lie. And, maybe there's a gap within that, which is being driven by the lack of criteria that people need to fulfill to become a realtor, with the clientele driving the agents,
Yeah.
and meeting that in the middle. And I believe that we'll have that chance to be able to define professionalism in a different way after this experience in the world,
Yeah.
in more ways than one, not just real estate, but in the stock market, evaluation of companies and the services that they provided to their employees, all different types of perceptions. And I pray that we're able to promote that here in Vegas if we have
Yeah.
some sort of drop in the way that we promote professionalism, so that people can seek for it and then trust in the value that's being provided and brought to the table.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly right.
yeah. And I believe that it will. All due in time. We just have to keep coming forth with it, As much as you're the marketing genius and
Just
you
keep
love to
doing
come
stuff,
from the
man.
sideways, we also know that you can come with the laughter and the humor and the rapport, as well as you can come sideways dead middle with the numbers, and then there's no argument.
Yeah, there's nothing. You can come in with a rubber chicken and cracking jokes and doing all that, and they're like, "Oh, that's great," and then they're like, "That's nice, but what? Tell me about what my house is worth." Well, I think it's worth 400,000. Well, why? Why? What are the comparable sales in the neighborhood that are model matches? And how long have you been doing this for? And what's your process? And tell me your story as a realtor. You need to be able to be prepared to be ready to talk like it's a second layer of skin about why you're doing this. And what is it that gets you out of bed, every single day? A realtor wakes up every day unemployed, every single day. And what is it that gets you to get up every single day, work your tail off, to have sometimes 30%, if not more, of the deals fall through for one reason or another, not your fault, but stuff just happens? You need to be able to have that conversation, and it needs to be able to happen very fluidly, and it needs to be very honest and transparent.
Right. We don't determine the market. We don't make the market. We only interpret it.
That's it. That's it. I mean, you can do all the forecasting you want. I had someone that reached out to me a couple of days ago and said, "Hey, I've got a client that wants to know what the market's going to be like in 2 years." I said, the end.
It's changing every week.
I did like LOL until I got blisters on my fingers and then hit send. So I was like, 2 years? You freaking kidding me? You high? I mean, weed is legal here, so sometimes you get wacky questions asked, but it's very tough to predict that stuff. You can take data, you can make an educated guess on what the near future is what's gonna happen, but then again, if we all had a magic 8-ball or crystal ball, we'd all be a lot richer than we are right now.
Well, I still think that we could somewhat know. I don't know. I was very unsure about what's even going to happen after school begins, like what kind of spark or wheel roller coaster we go through in our market when that happens. Because as we know, usually the summer is there's a lot of action going on, and because everybody wants to move before school begins, and then we also have people that are losing their jobs again, and then Sisolak just released a new plan last Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to be finding out this Friday or the following Monday. Did we get the fine-tuned right?
I think it's coming out next week. But here's my 2 cents, because one thing I do get asked a lot is what's going to be happening, from now to the end of the year.
Right.
And there is a new normal, with schools now, kind of going back. Like I have 3 kids, 2 of them are in school, and they're both staying home. One is at Coronado, the other one is in middle school, and they're being taught from home. I look around at my neighborhood and I see a lot of dumpsters, a lot of like the 20-yard roll-offs. People are taking money that they originally were going to spend on a vacation, and they're putting it in their home. And I see people getting their backyards done. I see pavers getting put in. I see houses getting gutted and redone because they had, money to go on a cruise, and now they're not going on a freaking cruise, but they're stuck at home all the time. So now people are making the home much more livable. And that's going to affect the value of properties. And I think that's why we're going to see a gradual incline of property values here in Southern Nevada. I would almost bet the farm on it, because in my neighborhood alone, there's like 4 homes that have these giant roll-ups, and it's not investors flipping a home. It's the homeowner that are actually going in and redoing the kitchen, redoing the backyard, redoing the master bath, because they want to live in a nicer place and they have the money to invest. And what's going to happen is they're going to live there and then go, oh, wait a minute, I've got some equity. We can get an even nicer house for not that much more money. And then all of a sudden, they're going to put their home on the market. That's what I think is going to happen. And I think that we are going to see a major selling season heading into the holidays. I think that the holidays are going to be very, very interesting for us. Fourth quarter is going to be strong. I think third quarter, I am very, I'm bearish. I'm a little more standoffish on the third quarter, because I want to see what happens with any type of government stimulus bill that comes out. What happens here in Nevada with Sisolak, and what's he going to be doing for folks that are employed, and are they going to be going back to work? So I think that there still could be a little bit of bloodshed in the third quarter, but fourth quarter, I'm very, very confident in a recovery for us. So if anything, I see like it went down, now it's coming up. There might be a plateau for a little bit, or a little bit of a dip in the third quarter, and then back up again in the fourth quarter is what I see.
And I support that. I support that evaluation.
Oh, thank God. Because I was talking, going, if she doesn't like this, I'm screwed. She's going to hit end right now, and this is the shortest interview ever.
No, I do, because I feel like people aren't going to be spending as much on the holidays either, because they're not going to be flying to wherever they're.
No, you're staying home.
Right, exactly.
Thanksgiving. Where are you going to go for Thanksgiving? You know what? Nowhere. You're going nowhere. And let me tell you something. If you live in Las Vegas, I'm going to give you, this is a pearl for you. The M Casino does a already done, prepared turkey dinner for you. And it's for like 6 or 7 people. There's 6 people in my house because my mom lives with us. We get it. I know nobody else is coming, because the best part about Thanksgiving is the freaking leftovers. And it's not that expensive, and it's the stuffing and soup and the turkey and everything. All comes with it, and it's phenomenal at the M. They do it every single year. It's great. And so, you know what? Most people, they're going to do turkey dinner. It's going to be just their nuclear family, and that's it, not the extended family. No one's going to be traveling that much. Again, from the beginning of our conversation, if anybody wants to read the #1 gauge for growth for the economy of Las Vegas, look at McCarran International Airport. Every month they release how many people are flying here, and you want to track that and see if it's going up. When that starts going up, we're doing better.
Right. We'll see what's going to happen. I feel like after Sisolak released what he's going to bestow on the city as being the new plan for keeping people employed, as he's saying is what he wants to try to promote, we'll see. With that being said, people are going to see their equity and they're going to want to take advantage of that interest rate. I think there's going to be a good margin of people wanting to sell like that. But I also feel like there's going to be a huge number of people that are it's going to start hitting that forbearance is over. We're not getting an extension. They still don't have a job, and they're going to need to sell. And that's going to be, I almost feel like that margin is going to be a tad bit larger than the people that are going to be like, oh, I have equity and I want to, I want to cash out. So we'll see. And I'm going to be excited to revisit it. I almost want to do this as a quarter thing, Jeff. Can we do a quarterly review?
Absolutely.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Kidding me? Every quarter, talk about data. You're nuts to do this every day. I love this stuff, man. This is porn to me. I love this stuff. Absolutely. I am down.
It's definitely your shindig. And that's why I'm glad that you're doing it, because you definitely provide numbers that are can't even be turned away. Need them as often as possible. And I thank you so much for everything that you do for me and all the agents that you help out.
My pleasure. My pleasure, my friend. Anytime.
All right, Jeff. Well, I don't want to bombard you too much. We got to be respectful of each other's time, but thank you again for coming on. And you have a beautiful rest of your day, Jeff, okay?
Okay, be safe.
Bye, you too.
Bye-bye.